Welcome back to 1010's Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie, and across from me in Texas is my co-host, Dusty Nixon, and behind me is Flatum, because Adam could not be bothered. Very busy man.
Flatum is on time every show.
He hasn't missed a show. Adam, on the other hand, misses shows.
I commend Flatum on his commitment to this show.
Yeah. I was just happy that he made the trip and that he didn't get damaged. Unlike all the other crap that I brought that I didn't want that did get damaged. But
the professional moving experience, huh?
Actually, it went really well. The weirdest thing was that I had all our weight equipment and like workout stuff in the basement, and then like for the longest time I was like, "Where's like some of this shit?" I remember seeing it. I remember it being delivered, and it's just gone. And so I was like, Jess, where'd the punching bag go and like some of this other stuff? She's like, "Oh yeah, I just threw that in the dumpster, like you said."
No,
I did not. Yeah, you said that, and you're like, because you said that you didn't think I'd be able to lift it, and I was like, I said I will bring it to the basement. I don't think you can lift it. I also didn't think you could lift the couch into the dumpster that we were getting rid of. That's what I was referring to. So
did she get rid of your garage couch?
No, the orange like mouse filled couch that was in the shop that was real gross that we asked the previous owner to get rid of, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be there," and then never showed up. But I got to keep like all the other stuff that he did leave here that I wanted, so that worked out.
Did you get rid of all that Supra carbon yet?
The canards and the dive planes both sold and the hood vents. The hood vents and the dive planes sold relatively quickly. I do have the side splitters still, and then whatever the fiberglass like U-shaped things are, I'm not sure what they are. I still have those. I'm probably going to keep this side splitters.
To say that sounds like it might work on a 350Z
or a 300ZX. It fits really nice actually. And I couldn't confirm what the side splitters were. I could confirm what the canards and the hood vents were.
It's convenient that all these two-seater cars are mostly the same size.
Yeah, so you can always take material away. So when it's long, it's no big deal. You just take a saw to it, and it's 71 inches. I need 70. It's no big deal. Just cut. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of next to the pile of all the 300ZX parts and the broken 350Z parts, so it'll find a place eventually.
So is the 300Z on the road yet, as Adam predicted?
Oh, I still have till June? Here we can. I'm going to try to do this without making noise. How about this for the YouTubers at home? Aha! And I didn't ruin the audio for all the podcast listeners. Yeah, so the 300ZX, the only thing I've done to that is that, so it came with HKS coilovers in the front and had like stock in the rear. So it sat funny, and obviously I wasn't going to do that long term. And then on eBay, someone had a rear set of coilovers for, what was that? The R32 Skyline GTR. And those use the same pickup points as the 300ZX's fronts and rears. So if you need suspension for a R32 GTR, not the GTS, because the GTS has different rear mounting points, or like the connector is different. But yeah, if you have a GTR and you need something in a pinch, 300ZX suspension works. And yeah, so I got 300ZX HKS's up front and then D2s in the rear. So now I can, like, I'm not going to do anything crazy performance with it, but I did want to have the adjustability of coilovers.
Yeah, that way you can keep it riding smooth down the highway.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. This is totally not for the entry to China Beach.
Exactly. This is all about that low boy life.
And that's a proud Nissan tradition of GTR parts just bolting right up to a Z.
It just bolts right on. Actually, that did bolt right on. It needed no modification whatsoever. Which was really surprising. Yeah, I found it on eBay, and it sat there for a while, and I was like, I don't need these. I'm just going to let it sit. And so I saved it right away after I bought the car, and after, a month, I was like, I'm I'm going to lowball this guy. And I gave him a lowball offer, and they took it. So that's why I ended up with actual coilovers on that car.
They were like, man, I would have taken half that. Awesome.
Oh, they did take half of what they were asking. They were asking like full price for used coilovers. I'm like, I'll go half that. And then I expected to meet in the middle, and nope, they took it.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really about it. I ran the ozone machine in it to get all the weird smells out of it. Because it's been sitting. I've sold a bunch of parts. So I'm supposed to be meeting a guy tomorrow to get rid of the spare doors, the spare fenders, the spare headliner, a handful of interior bits. I'm trying to think what else he had listed. He did want the bumper, then changed his mind, but I'm going to bring it anyways because I think once he sees it, he's going to take it. So we're supposed to meet somewhere between here and Kentucky tomorrow. So if everything keeps going smoothly, I might end up having I told Jess it was going to be called the Free 100ZX because if I sell all these parts, $100 here, $100 there, this could be free by the time it's done.
Classic Robbie. The only way this would have been better is if the car had been in cardboard boxes when you got it originally.
All the spare parts were. So I do have
the entire car, not just the spare parts.
Oh no, Yeah, when you buy 1.5 cars, you're going to get boxes.
So you just need to remind that guy whenever you take all this stuff to him that the rules of buying a batch of stuff used on Marketplace for a car is that you're also going to get the rest of the stuff that was there. And
yes.
You don't really have a right to refuse it. No.
I brought all of this stuff. I know you asked for half of this, but we're here. I know you need it.
Yeah.
It was like, yesterday I met a guy and he bought the taillights off it too. It was like, so yeah, $150 here, $100 there. We're well on our way to about halfway point at this point. Yeah, I mean, that's
thought any further about the engine and drivetrain plan for it?
Oh man, I was real in on the VH45 swap. There was a VH45 in Indianapolis for like $250, and then there was a swap kit for it. I'm trying to think where he was out of, Michigan, I think. And he didn't want a whole lot for it. And then when I started looking into it, like, man, I don't think there's parts for this. Like, if something goes wrong, like let's say there's something wrong with this $250 engine. Odds are probably in my favor that it's not going to happen. But let's just assume maybe something's wrong with this engine. Can I get another one after investing all this time putting the swap kit together? And no. Oddly enough, 96 Q45s are not easily found. So there was like 4 of them at junkyards within like a 600-mile radius, and that was about it. So it's real hard to not do just an LS swap. Like, I could get a $500 engine every day of the week, no matter what. And then the swap kits are not, even if I bought it new, it wouldn't be that big a deal. So compared to like some of the other stuff. So it's, and that stuff's showing up on Marketplace and eBay every once in a while. So like I said, if I can piece it together, that'll kind of determine what direction I go. The engine will be like the last thing I buy. But if like a swap kit shows up on Marketplace for like $1,500 for all of it, maybe I'll just do that.
Yeah, you could go in that car. You could go like Holly or something like that for management on it, and not be too worried about integrating it with the car.
Yep. And oddly enough, that swap harness through Wiring Specialties is not one of the like wildly expensive ones, because like usually they're like $1,200, and this one was like $800.
Oh, that's not bad.
So, yeah. Obviously, long term, not really doing anything with it at this point besides selling parts. Just trying to plan ahead. Like, I still can't even pick up a color that I want for it, because I really like them in blue, but damn it, every car I've had is blue. I got to do something different.
You gotta maintain the brand.
I mean, it's blue currently, but I don't want it to be that shade of blue. But I've already got like the last 2 cars I've had have been blue, so it's, I don't know.
You're the blue. You're the blue opposite side of Dalton's orange on the color wheel of this ecosystem that is built around this silly show.
Yeah, there is that, but I kind of don't want to. So, and then also if I paint it green, despite Adam, that's a nice little bonus.
There's a lot of ups. I don't know if I've ever seen a green one.
They came in like a metallic emerald, I think is what, or I think is what they called it. Because that was the spare parts car, was that metallic green.
Oh yeah.
So something like that, or like or if I'm really feeling crazy, I'm feeling midnight purple. So
Man, that green. So I had a GMC Sonoma whenever I was in high school and into college. The GMC had none of their metallics were just straight metallic. There's good pearl in them, so that it had a good amount of like blue to it. It looks really similar to it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That they had some really good colors because that's just a factory color. That and then the blue that it is in that I can't think what the name for it is. That blue looks really good when it's fresh and polished. Obviously not in the condition that it's in, but even that stock color looks really good. Or if I do the typical Nissan Hot Boy thing and just paint it Bayside blue like everybody else does, I mean, you can't really go wrong, and it'll look really freaking good. When
I search blue, either the lighter powder blue or just like straight bright ass metallic blue.
Yep. So can't decide what color I want. Plenty of time to decide, but yeah. And then oddly enough, I did pick up a wing for it, and I don't know if I'm going to use it. But do you know? I can't think off the top of my head what the brand it is. So there's a brand that is like the competitor to Nine Lives Racing. It's the same general shape. They sell a bunch of DIY kits. The cord is like half an inch longer. I can't.
Yeah, I've seen them. And I can't think of what the. I think I've mostly seen them because Johnny shit talks them all the time.
Probably, yeah. But somebody here was selling a kit locally, and it's I think it's 70 inches wide, and they wanted $75 for it. And I was like, I'm just gonna buy that, and even if I don't use it, end up selling it. That's $75 is hard to pass up.
Yeah, $75. Wing Logic.
Yes, I have. It was a 70-inch Wing Logic DIY kit with eBay uprights for $75. Has not been welded yet, so might try something with that. I got 2 hatches, so if I really hate it, I could just leave it on that one and then put the other hatch on and try something else. But I don't know. For $75, I figure I could try it.
I like that I just searched aluminum racing wing and I get a Wing Logic WL250 racing wing, and then I get a Motion Raceworks Muscleless drag wing, which is just like the pro stock style, just goes straight off the deck lid.
Oh, that's what you need.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then like straight up dragster wings also. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, they look good without wings, but they also look good with wings. And there's all sorts of different designs and styles that people do. So, again, I've really not made up my mind on this. I keep hoarding parts based on my feelings, and then if I decide to change my mind, I'll just get rid of them.
Ooh, you need the Wings West just hoop style, like fiberglass body color.
Yep, that one's real popular. I don't love it.
I don't either, but
but everyone does it.
If we're making it 1993, I mean,
yep. But
Veilside has a full kit for it.
Yep, Twins makes a really cool kit for it, but they don't really have a wing. They have like a really small spoiler, and then the rest is like wide body.
This Veilside one just looks like it has a shelf built off the hatch.
Yep.
And the lower third of the car, there's just a lot of lines going places that they shouldn't really go.
There's some really good body kits, and then there's like a lot of really bad ones for that car. It's very 1992, very hit or miss. But yeah, I mean that's about it on the 300 ZX. The 350Z I dropped off at our buddy Boomer. I get to say he's my buddy now. He basically just pulled it all straight and hammered on it, and then also cut out the quarters so that I could put the over fenders on it. So basically, just got it all back to where it's supposed to be, and reinforced the crunched in area for the tow hook. So just a buddy doing this out of his garage on the weekends. So paying him cash, and then I don't have a bank here, So that means I had to go to an ATM like 4 days in a row to pay him in to pay him in 20s. And I'm taking money out of like the joint account and the money out of like the fun money account because like the ATM only goes to $400. So it's just like I'm that guy. But
$400. How are you supposed to make crappy impulse buys on $400?
Well, everyone uses apps, but he wanted cash, and I wasn't going to argue with him, and it's fine. I don't care. But it just like this would have been no problem in Des Moines, but because I don't have a bank here yet, I have nowhere to just go get cash. So, of course, now I don't know when I'll need it again, but we definitely need to move our bank here.
Yeah, having an actual like bank that has local branches is which the one that we've used forever has like bought up a bunch of other banks and is now getting bought by another bank. So it's like it feels super trustworthy. I'm sure
it's fine. Nothing ever goes wrong in those situations.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll probably end up just going with like Chase or something because we'll get there. But yeah, Chase has been really good to me over the years. Like if with fraud with my credit cards, like if I dispute something, it's taken care of immediately, or like they'll, I've never had any issues. So like I'm not like advertising for Chase, but like I've just had really good luck with them.
Unless they would like to advertise.
I would certainly do it.
Yeah, we're open.
Anything for money.
Their logo is a similar color blue to a certain race car.
There's some room for stickers. I'll show you.
That podcast logo can come right off the side.
Yep, we can be done with that. That can be much smaller too. But yeah,
those guys haven't paid their bills in forever.
No, it just costs money, really. But yeah, so I ordered over fenders for it. Again, I didn't. There's a handful of options. There's like the really cheap, shitty ones out there, and then there's like the really expensive ones and the carbon fiber ones. And for the number of times that I've had to fix my quarter panels, I don't want the really expensive ones.
Yeah, it seems like the mid-range and below is probably the way to go for a wheel-to-wheel car.
Yep. So I talked myself out of I think it's JP or JB fiberglass out of I think it's out of Puerto Rico or something. Talked myself out of that because I think that was a little bit on the lower end from what I wanted. And then there was this site out of UK called Firefly, and I talked myself into getting theirs, knowing full well that they were like a make-to-order company. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it, and know that Chase gives me 60 days to do a report of like if I'm not going to get it. So I ordered it a while back, like literally 50 days ago, and knowing full well that I sent them a message, asked for an update, and they got real bad about like not responding at all. So
always comforting.
Yep. So I gave it a couple weeks. Didn't hear anything. I was like, okay, I'll shoot an email and just say, hey, is there an update? Nothing. And then their website's like, message us on Facebook, message us on Instagram, all this crap. So I was like, I messaged him on Facebook and WhatsApp and his personal Facebook account. Obviously, everything gets ignored. Finally, after a few weeks, I get a message saying, hey, bud, it's in, it got mailed out. Whatever, it should be there Thursday or Friday. I'll get you tracking on Monday. I was like, okay, no fucking way, but sure. I mean, I'll go with it. Like if it shows up on Thursday, great.
The check's in the mail.
Yep. And that was 4 weeks after I ordered it. Obviously, they didn't show up. Messaged them every couple of days after that, to the point where like I'd come home from work and it wasn't here, so I just messaged them. So I had a nice long paper trail that I can screenshot and send to Chase when I report this. Yep, sure enough, it's been, by the time this airs, it'll be 60 days, right at 60 days. I have already reported to my credit card company. It's not coming. And, yeah, the only response I ever got was, hey, bud, it's in the mail.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It hasn't even been made yet. Man. And then somebody posted on their review on Facebook saying, like, yeah, I ordered in December. I'm order 300 or 3015 or whatever. I'm like, I'm 3042. So yeah, you're certainly not getting anywhere near my order anytime soon. So, and then of course the replacements that I ordered like 3 days ago will be here on Tuesday. So
these on jpfibershop.com, it says they have 9,946 of them in stock.
I think that
seems like a red flag in the other direction.
Yep. I know those are made to order, but even in the like, I'm not shitting on them. It's just based on my opinion. Like in the picture of the stuff you're advertising, if the wheel arches aren't like round, like if it doesn't have a radius to it, I'm probably not buying it. Like I knew like I was going to have to do some work to make them fit a little bit, especially since the car's been crunched. But I also didn't want to do a shitload of work on $500 pieces of fiberglass. Like I want it to like kind of fit, and then just like if I need to change something, that's fine. But I don't really want to put a lot of work into them, and I also don't want to spend $1,000 on them. I'm very picky.
These in the picture on here, I can't tell if the arches are round or not, but it has spiked and it has the end plates on the wing that are shaped like a dagger.
Yep, and I also don't need 50 millimeter wide ones. I only need 28 millimeters, or 30 if you need one that's actually a round number. So, just stupid stuff to deal with. But yeah, I mean the car's all back together. I got I guess everything's pulled straight. Everything's back together. All I need is the wide body to show, or the over fenders to show up on Tuesday. Wrap them. Put them on, align it, and then it should be good for like any small testing things because it's still got the CDO1 in it. And then if I actually do track stuff, I'll swap in the CDO9 before I actually do that. But at this point, I don't really have the desire to put that effort in for something that's going to just do street driving for a little bit.
Yeah, so the one that's in there is the one that broke at Topeka. Do I have that straight?
So the one that broke at Topeka was the original CDO9.
Oh, yeah.
So that one I gifted to a friend of Josh and Ryan's in Sioux Falls that likes tinkering, and I didn't feel comfortable enough selling it even in that condition and with the disclaimer that it is broken. Like I just...
Yeah,
I'm all for selling things, but I just couldn't confidently put that on Facebook Marketplace and say, here's a CDO9. I know it's broken. You go ahead and fix it.
That needs something.
Yep. Because, yeah, I don't want to. I just don't want to be that guy. So I made that comment on the podcast that if somebody wants it, they can take it, and he took it. Luckily enough, I forgot to take out the little spacer for my short shifter. So he basically overnighted it to me when I messaged him about it. So that was nice. But yeah, it's the CDO9 or the CDO1 that's in there now is the one that saved that Topeka weekend.
Okay, that was the Saturday evening acquisition transmission.
Yes, and then the one that's replacing it is a low mile one I picked up off a guy in Cincinnati.
Got it.
I was gonna buy a brand new one, and then this one popped up, and it's like, it's one of the replacements. Like it did not come from like in a factory car. Like it's the CDO9 upgrade replacement that they put in a swap car and then ran for I don't know, a handful of thousand miles, and then sold that car. So
nice.
So hopefully it looks in great shape. It shifts, or like just putting it on on the bench, you could feel it shifts even smoother than anything that I've had before. So hopefully that holds true on track, but we'll eventually get there probably for an HPDE eventually.
Mid-Ohio HPDE.
Yeah,
a whole new level.
Yep. Yeah, because I was talking to Joe the other day because he was kind of seeing what my schedule was looking like. I was like, dude, I don't have anything, like nothing scheduled. So like when you and Jeff want to do testing, or like if there's any local HPDs at Mid Ohio, or if somebody rents Killcare, or whatever the other small like test track around here is. Like if somebody's like, hey, we're gonna go test, you busy? I'll do that until I finally feel confident with the car again. Then maybe start dipping my toe back into wheel-to-wheel stuff and getting a little more serious about it again. I've been doing a bunch of iRacing. Like I've been up until about last week, I was doing it quite a bit just to kind of knock that dust off.
I got a fresh laptop and was like, yeah, I'm gonna get back in and do some sim stuff, and I hate my Logitech wheel like with a fiery passion, and can't decide what to upgrade to, and yep, it just sits right over there.
Yep, I'm pretty happy with my Fanatec. That's good. And then I'm still using Logitech pedals and that weird spring fake pressure sensor
the mod thing. Yeah.
So that could definitely be upgraded, but
that's my wheel, and I don't know, maybe somebody listening to this or possibly you is smarter than me. My wheel has this giant just dead space in the middle of it, so just trying to drive a car down a straightaway, you just do, it's like,
oh, weird.
It's like everything has a worn out rack and 7 degrees of toe out on it, and it doesn't matter what car it's in.
Oh, weird.
And it seems to be the same across iRacing and Assetto. I don't think it's a setting, but maybe there's something I'm missing. But
yeah, to me it doesn't sound like a setting. It sounds like something's.
Yeah, I think maybe having a small child like banging it from lock to lock for a couple of years before he was big enough to like actually drive might have had something to do with it. But
yeah, I mean, and those were never really meant to be taken as serious as like some of the. No. I don't have a direct drive. I have like the next level below that, but like you could tell the difference from going from a G27 to the Club Sport, and then if I went to a direct drive, I'm sure that's even more. But not that serious about it.
I found a guy selling it's the Club Sport 2.5.
99% certain that's what I have.
Yeah. I found a guy selling that and pedals for like $500, and it's just been sitting.
Yep, that's a fair price.
Yeah, it's just been sitting on Marketplace, just sitting there taunting me, along with all these other dumb project cars that I have saved. But
yeah, that guy's about due for a lowball offer. It sounds like.
Yeah, I might have to do that heading into this weekend, because I had like the lowest level direct drive that Fanatec has now. I had that and the pedals with the load cell brake pedal upgrade in my cart one night. Like, just, so I had been in here and I got pissed off, and I just like went to their website and added all to the cart, and it's like, okay, fine. Like, the wheel is the base and the wheel is like 4, and then the pedal is 179, and that all sounds fine. And then you get it in the cart, and the tax adds, and there's a little bit of shipping. It's like, damn it, $150. I just don't know about $850 of American real dollars. I don't know.
Yep.
To do this thing that just really kind of pisses me off every time I.
Oh yeah, I suck at this too.
Oh yeah, I'm just as good at this as I am the real car. That's right. Awesome.
Yep.
But, see, I might have to hit that guy up, because the stuff, like, he's still got the boxes and everything for it. It doesn't look like it's really been used very much. So.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'd been on there a little bit, and I was practicing, and then I got a message from Scott Robertson like, "Hey, noticed you were on iRacing a little bit lately." And I was like, "Yeah, kind of just be under the wire here. I don't need to be watched, man." It's he's like, "Yeah, we got a bunch of us." He's like, "You can go jump on our Discord," and I was like, "Okay, fine." Because of course they're all using it for practice and taking it pretty serious. So I'm just kind of like piggybacking on whatever they're doing. But
yeah, I like one of the few times I jumped into a group like that. It was whenever like Swinson and them, like Swinson had just started into. It was like 2020, I think, when everybody was just at home doing nothing. And I got into a race with like him and like 4 or 5 other people, and I was like, I qualified like 4.5 seconds off of the slowest person in this group. And I'm like, okay, my only goal here is to not be the asshole. Like, I'll start back here, and I'll drive in the mirror, and I'll probably make an even bigger mistake because of that.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like all the anxiety of being in a real track day. Awesome.
That is the one thing I will say iRacing does better than I could ever expect, is that feeling of like you're in a real lobby. Like, this never happened in like Call of Duty or anything like that, when you're in a lobby with a bunch of people. Like, you don't have that anxiety of like, man, if I fuck this up, I ruin everybody else's day. Mm-hmm. But in iRacing, that's very real. Like, you're sitting on a grid, that same feeling of don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. It's still there.
Well, it's like in Call of Duty, whenever you suck at it, you're just a whipping boy that just gets killed a bunch of times. Like the only times I ever played Halo, I dated a girl in college that I played Halo with, and she probably wasn't any good, but she was way better at it than I was. And I was just like, this isn't any fun. Like, I don't even get to walk around because you're just sniping me from way up there. Like, I can't even just. Okay, now I know you're not shooting me. Like, I can see me in your sights. Like, just letting me do this.
Yeah, but every once in a while you get a decent lobby, but then you also get that other end of the spectrum where, like, you're in a practice lobby, and then, like, you make a mistake and someone's like, learn how to drive. I'm in a fucking practice lobby.
Go do a real race, asshole. You're so great. Why are you still at this safety level?
Exactly. We shouldn't be together if I suck so bad. But yeah, so don't have any tickets. Don't have any real plans. I think legitimately the only event that I have actual plans for right now is Ozarks in June. And that's only because it's pretty easy to sell when I'm like, hey, we're just going to go by where your parents live. And then you can have a weekend and I can go racing or time attacking.
Is that with Midiv?
Yep. So I wanted to drive it. And yeah, if I'm going to show up and not try to be competitive, then I'm not going to be scared of the track as much. Whereas if I'm trying to show up and be competitive, then I'm not. I'm not showing up trying to take any risks. I'm basically just still shaking out the car at this point. So
that looks like a good track for a fit.
I would agree. So I think a 350Z at 7/10 sounds about fine too.
Yeah.
Plus, I got like two nearly new sets of tires I should burn up. So
I happen to know where a fit is, actually.
Yeah. That's just gotten its stuff fixed on it, too.
Sort of.
Fixed-ish.
So transition into another broken blue quote-unquote race car. I didn't send you pictures of this because
I got pictures from the other one.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, so we pulled the motor mounts off of it that we knew were broken. We didn't know to the extent of which they were broken. So the Fit has apparently 4 motor mounts. We've only found 3 so far. But
wait, what? How is it that hard to find?
We weren't looking that hard.
Okay, fair enough.
We were over there hanging out, and it was cold, and then we sat around in the house just watching the kids be idiots for a while, and we were like, we should get up and do something. So we just went out there and kind of poked at it with a stick a little bit.
Sure.
It's like, oh, well, let's see if we can get the motor mounts off of it. So there's one on top, on the passenger side, and then there's one on the bottom on the driver's side, and then there's at least one on the back that we found.
Top or bottom?
Bottom.
Okay.
That I think they technically call a transmission mount. Not totally sure.
Okay. I'm trying to picture it based on like the front engine cars I've gotten. So obviously it'd be very different.
Yeah, so it has one that's like kind of in the center on the bottom that is it's like up in a subframe thing, so it doesn't look like it's as easy to get off as the other two. Sure. So that's the main reason. I'm sure it's also very blown out.
That was the worst one for sure.
Yeah. So we like kind of pull the fender liners back a little bit, and we can see the one on the driver's side on the bottom. It's a bracket that has a round hole in it that's supposed to have rubber and a sleeve in it, and there's literally nothing inside it. There's just the stud sticking out off of the side of the engine into nothing. It's just floating in air right there. I was like, okay, there's one of the noises. Yeah,
that's a lot of movement. Yeah,
and then the one on the top, there's a bracket that comes off of the side of the head that sits down onto this, and then there's a cage that goes on top of it. And we get the cage loose. It's got 3 bolts in it going into the chassis. 2 of them come right out, and the other one, it goes like a round and a half and then stops, because that's what happens when it's a 2007 Honda Fit.
Yep.
So we don't have blaster to spray on it or anything.
Oh, that's right, because you're in Texas and you don't need it.
Well, so we run it up to the rust and then we back it off, and then we run it up to the rust and back it off, and realize we're basically going the same amount, because it's like the car's not rusty, but this bolt just has rust on the exposed threads, which is apparently like 2.5 inches of thread inside the subframe. So I look over, he's got one of those little like propane map gas bottle torches. We'll just put some heat on it, see what happens. And then he's also got like the freezing penetrant spray.
Yep.
So we just throw some heat on it, spray some of this freezing penetrant on it. Okay, we got like another 3/4 to 1 round. Run it back in a little bit, heat it up. We do this like 12 times and finally get the thing out and it's like, it seems to have not trashed the threads, and the bolt still looks all right. We just need to like brush it off and it should be good. But so that mount it's like a stud that sticks up, and it's like a hamburger shaped kind of liquid filled bushing that it sits on top of, and that you can make it talk. You can like, it's torn like 2/3 of the way around it. So yeah, it was not doing anything either, and the liquid is gone. So yeah, that explains the clunk every time you did anything with it. So.
Yeah, that would do it. So you doing poly, or what are you guys doing to fix that, or just factory replacement?
So there's a polyurethane bushing kit out there for it. It's like $389.
What?
And this is a $500 car.
Yes.
So I ordered the cheapest one I could find on Amazon for the lower mount, along with a tube of polyurethane windshield adhesive.
I like where this is going.
And so that lower mount, one side of it, the sleeve is like flush with the outside of the bracket. So you can put packing tape across that, and then you flip it over, and then you can shoot the windshield adhesive in through the parts of the rubber to fill in all of the voids. And then so you fill it all the way to the top, and then you like level it off with I used like a piece of like a tag off of a piece of clothing that was just sitting by on the table in the garage. We'll level that off and then pull the tape off and do the same on the other side. And then let it sit for at least a week, apparently.
That's amazing.
So I went out the next day and I was like, this stuff says it's supposed to be fast drying. So I like go over to it and I kind of gently push on it, and it's like, oh, that's not solid.
Like a black fingertip.
It was so it's cured on the outside. I think there's just too much there for it to cure on the inside.
Sure.
So a few days later, I set it in front of, I've got a little electric space heater that I set it in front of for a couple of hours. Go back, still, it's better. Still not great. So the last I actually had my hand on it was whenever we went back over there last weekend, and we were looking at it next to the car, and you can take and like push on the sleeve in the middle of it, and you can see the urethane moving around the sleeve. So it was probably just a waste of $14 an hour, but I had a lot of fun doing it because it was hilarious to me at the time.
I want to believe that it works. I really do.
We'll find out whenever we still got to get a top mount and decide if we're going to do anything to that or if we're just going to stick it in there as it is. I'm leaning toward just getting a replacement, sticking it in there as it is, and we'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah.
But and then we'll see whenever the weight of the engine goes back down on that lower mount, if it all just goes out the sides like toothpaste. So
well, surely it's been long enough to cure at this point.
So yeah, maybe. I don't know. It was one of those kind of like a lot of things that I've done automotively recently that it was just like, this kind of seems like a dumb and bad idea.
But if it works, it's not a dumb idea.
And then, like, all signs point to maybe it was kind of a dumb and bad idea. But yeah, well,
yep. We had a customer in for testing this week. So my week was basically shooting lasers at testing things with them. It was great. But there was a couple of things like we're trying to do like this weird way of like doing this. I'm like, okay, we can do this, and this. And we're like, I'm like, I turned to the engine. Like, I'm trying not to give away because it's obviously, not
NDA.
It's not NDA confidential stuff, but like also I know I probably shouldn't be like saying specifics. So I'm trying to be very broad. But basically, so we're trying to like shoot lasers at things. So we're trying to find ways to like clamp them and get them in safe ways that it's not going to reflect the laser into a place we don't want it. So like, but like the whole day or the last 3 days was basically doing that. So it just, to me, I described it as feeling like everything we're doing is the type of things we do to save a weekend at a racetrack, because it was just like, we're all kind of like, it's just kind of jerry-rigged together just long enough to shoot it with a laser, and then we move on to the next thing. It was awesome.
It sounds like whenever we would do photo shoots with RC cars, and you have a studio, you have a lot of different lights, you have a lot of different things, and you end up with like, we've got a room that has so many stands and so many like pieces of foam board and foil and all this stuff just to you get to the point where you can't get in to touch the actual car because there's so much stuff around it.
Yeah. That's that same
God
kind
help
of vein.
Yeah, and then God help you don't kick anything, because then you have to start all over.
Yep. Yeah, we were doing like destructive testing towards the end, so that was real fun because you like pull the trigger, immediately bursts into flames, and you're like, we got to see how long it lasts. Just smoke out the whole room. It was awesome. I really, really like my job, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, that's a cool change from
yeah. Yep, love it. It's the best. It doesn't feel like work. It was a long week, but it was awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to like work your ass off and be super busy and it not feel like you're just getting beaten the whole time.
Yep. Yeah, like I got home yesterday was the long day. I got home and I was just like, man, I'm exhausted, but I'm not like dreading work. I'm not stressed about it. Like, it's just, I just worked really hard all day. It was great.
Yeah, that's similar to how our business at the shop is picking up because it's warming up and people are out tearing stuff up and then wanting to immediately fix it. So we've been running something approaching what like summertime is already in the spring. So
I'll say, is a spring rush fairly normal? I know like tuning shops and stuff always have like, oh, summer's coming. Now we got all the people want their tunes now. Like, is the same thing with like machine shops?
So the machine shop side, we actually, it kind of gets busier in the wintertime because people, they start to see, like, oh, I tore that up, or I want to get this going in the springtime or something like that. So I need to start working on the engine now.
Sure.
Since we just do, like the prep work on it. And then on the hydraulic side of things, it's weather dependent. So, whenever it's cold and wet and nasty, people aren't out, using big equipment, tearing stuff up quite as much. And then, so it warmed up last week, and as soon as the highs were in the 80s, it was like we did not stop all day long. So it's crazy. There's a lot of growth going up around us right now. So there's like things just keep getting busier, which is not a bad thing.
No, it's a good problem to have, really. I think the only other news I have, or like things to talk about. All right, I'm gonna try to do this without like completely ruining, because I don't want to make the noise. And if anyone listened to last week's podcast, they know what noise I'm talking about. I figured out how to not make the noise, but it's like a stupid workaround because something changed, and I'm really annoyed by it.
It's just Windows. It's fine.
Fucking Windows. All right. All right. So the only other thing that's going on in my life, not car related, oddly enough, is that last week, Tuesday, I come home from work, and there is a Doberman Pit Bull mutt mix in my yard. No collar. Clearly been abandoned. Very, very, very thin. You can see every single one of her ribs. So we take the poor thing in, feed it. It attacks the bowl as if it hasn't been fed ever. That
People suck.
Yeah, that being said, immediately obedient, immediately the best behaved dog that's in the house. And so, like, yeah, I come home and Jess has already kind of started babying it, like just taking care of the poor thing. And we're trying to making phone calls to the neighbors that we do know, like, hey, does anyone recognize this dog? And of course, anyone that we didn't know. So I guess we called the neighbor across the street who we do know. And then she called all the neighbors that we don't know. And every single one of the neighbors were like, I would check with that new couple across the street, see if it's theirs. Well, we're the ones calling. And then the guy that lives directly behind me, I walked over there. I was like, hey, do you recognize this dog? He's like, yeah, I do. It was out in the field like 8 hours ago. Looked abandoned. I was like, shit. So, sure enough.
All signs point. The dog has a new home.
Yeah, that dog came to our house, took one look around, and went, "Yeah,
man, look at all this space for project cars.
This is a nice place you got here. I think I'll stay." So, yeah, it stayed the night. Legitimately, no issues whatsoever. Besides the fact that she has not been spayed and is clearly in heat. So I'm not going to get into the disgusting details of what female dogs do when they're in heat.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So, update. She's been in diapers ever since. So we brought her to the vet the next day. Sure enough, like literally nothing wrong with her. Like there's no injuries. She's not like covered in fleas. She's just clearly malnourished, not chipped. Our neighbor posted on the Facebook page locally, asked if anyone knew. They shared, like it was shared a bunch of times and no one reached out. So then by the time we got home, got her in some diapers, got her the first round of vaccinations. And yeah, she's the best behaved dog out of all of them. Doesn't bark, doesn't fight, doesn't like she follows the point. Like if I'm like, go there, and she just does it. It's fucking amazing. Like none of the dogs we have ever been like knew exactly when I was like, no, you go there, and she just okay over there. Yeah. And then for me, when I came out of the shower and she's just sitting on the bed looking at me waiting, like perfectly behaved, no issue whatsoever, doesn't chew on anything. And then when we left for work, we had this kennel that we had gotten for when we had the other dogs, and we tried to kennel them, and they wouldn't do it. So then I was like, all right, let's try it. She's young enough because she's got to be less than a year, maybe a year. And I was like, we'll try it. So then, get the kennel all set up, got a little bed in there, and I was like, all right, kennel. And I'll be God. She just walked in, turned around, sat down. All right, closed the gate. The only time she whimpered was when she knew we were still in the house. And like I came home from work, wasn't making a fuss until she realized that I was at the door to let her out of the laundry room. I am blown away. So it took I think Jess immediately fell in love with the dog. And I was like, God, we do not need 3 dogs. But
nobody needs 3 dogs.
There was
people
no
just
way.
end up with 3 dogs.
Yep. Yeah, she knew the right house to go to because man, there was after that first day, I was like, man, that I'm not letting that dog leave. Like, if the owner shows up and was like, that dog that showed up, you can come back.
You're gonna have to do a lot of explaining.
You can come back with a court order. That's our dog.
Yeah. Well, the sad thing whenever you come across one that's super obedient like that is like, somebody's worked either they're just really good natured and they're super smart, or somebody with them and just ended up in a situation where they just couldn't handle it anymore and didn't go about finding a home for her the right way, and that's awful.
Everything this dog does impresses me. It's crazy because like this would have been Tuesday with customers and I was like, so I left for work, put her in the kennel, and like we had, like, things were going wrong in the lab. So like we were like I said, we were scrambling to get things to work. We were like fighting with some optics and stuff like that where it just wasn't working the way we were supposed to, and it ended up being a 12-hour day. And that poor dog was in the kennel for 12 hours. And I'm like, man, I'm coming home to a fucking mess. Like, guys, like I can't stay that any. I can't stay much later. I gotta go take care of this puppy. Get home. Not one accident. She went the whole fucking day in the kennel. No accident. No issue. Just, I opened the kennel. I was like, outside, let's go. Ran to the door. Went outside.
And peed for 3 minutes solid.
I'm blown away. I couldn't believe it. I mean, the only issues we've had so far is the fact she's in heat, which makes the other dogs act real dumb. And then, of course, once those dogs realize that she's not leaving, then it got a little bit territorial. But no, other than that, she's never been the problem. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy.
It's Yancey, and what's the other?
Yancey and Kyle are the boys.
Kyle, yeah.
And then Jess named this one Gabby.
Kyle, I like Kyle.
Yep, I like Kyle too. That's it.
The whole time I was at Hale's house, I would look at Kyle. He would just turn and walk the other way. It's like, I'm going back to bed.
Yep. Yeah, he's actually, since moving to Ohio, he's gotten a little bit more like around. Like in Des Moines, he'd just kind of like go to his cave and just be alone all the time. Whereas now, since moving here, he's been like around more.
He's following your cue of being more social.
He's being more social.
He's in Ohio.
Yeah. Like, I mean, Jess has done a little, like, now that it's been a little bit nicer, they've gone for walks a lot, and that's helped. But like, just even when we moved here, it wasn't like, I think the transition itself wasn't that bad. It just seemed like they were kind of weirded out, like, all our stuff's here, but this isn't our house.
Yeah.
And then they settled in, like, immediately.
I have that feeling whenever I move to a new place, so, yeah. I understand.
No, they've done great. And, yeah, she was just in the shop, just hanging out, because I got the shop couch, so she'll come over, sniff out what I'm doing, and then go lay on the couch, hang out. Amazon shows up. She goes and greets the Amazon delivery person, but doesn't chase the Amazon vehicle, which is nice. Nice change of pace. Yeah, like I said, the new pup is the obedient, well-behaved one, which is insane to me.
It's funny, the last picture you sent, I see the Doberman, and the one that you sent where they're all on the couch. I see the pit, that big round head. Like, that's a wild mix.
Yeah, we were kind of arguing with her, not arguing, but like discussing like what do we thought she was, and I was like, man, I'm convinced she's dominant is Doberman to me, like just her general shape, and then her ears, and then but like her face is rounder like a pit bull, and her neck is huge.
Yeah, because Dobermans have like pointy, like little darty heads.
Yep. Like, and then she obviously has the Doberman colors. And then I was just doing Google searches on like mixes, Doberman this, Doberman that, and just there was a Doberman pit puppy picture that looked almost spot on. The coloring was slightly different; didn't have any white like she does. So obviously she's there's more than just those two in there. But yeah, so we're just continuing the trend of having dogs you have to explain when you bring them to board places. Like, no, I understand that she's on the list, but she's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I understand Kyle's on the list. He's a pit bull and he's a chow. I understand that. He's okay. It's the spaniel you need to worry about.
Yeah. It's the dog you don't. It's the dog that no one would suspect that you need to not turn your back on.
Yep. Yeah. No, the pit bull mixes are fine. The Doberman's going to be the easiest one, I promise.
So we have friends that have a pointer pit mix. So she's like gray and black speckled, and she's huge.
Oh, I
and
bet.
her head is like the size of a football. I just love. Anytime we go over there, I love just grabbing her by the ears and just being like, because it's just like, it's like a human head. It's so big.
Yep. Oh yeah. She has no clue how strong she is. Like she clearly hasn't gotten treats from the hand very often because she likes to bite your fingers. Like you give her a treat, she can't tell the difference between the treat and your fingers, so she'll accidentally bite you. She's gotten a lot better in the last week about that. But again, she has no clue that she's going to be the biggest, strongest dog of all of them. But completely ignores the other ones. Like Yancey likes to roughhouse, and she just ignores him. It's funny. Yeah. So yeah, like realistically, if I bring a dog to the track, it's probably going to be her.
Yeah. More mouths to feed. What could go wrong?
Yep, it's been a busy full house. I'm real excited to get her spayed here in a few weeks, so we can stop dealing with that.
Yeah,
because the first week you knew like she's clearly in heat, and then this is like, so the dogs don't ovulate the same way humans do, but basically like she's in the cycle where it's like she could be pregnant right now, and so like all the dogs are get pregnant right now, and that's where the other two dogs are like insane and dumb right now because of the pheromones. Like it's just. Yeah, I keep them apart, but
she's like a girl walking around at a grid life right now.
Yep, in a tube top, basically. Yep. No, but I mean, yeah. Besides the grossness of having to keep her in diapers because she'll just leave a trail of nastiness all over the house. That's like legitimately that's the only problem we have with her. And then I think she had like walked the pads off of her feet. So like a couple of them were like no pads at all. It was just like a gigantic scab.
Whoa.
So like she's been like licking at those a lot. That's like the only annoying thing she does is she's constantly licking at her wounds. So it's just a disgusting sound in the middle of the night.
We have a French Bulldog Boston Terrier mix, and that's like two dogs that have. Like their superpower is being allergic to everything, and then you combine them together. Yeah, he just we had to change his food because apparently he's allergic to his food. Like the people at the vet were like, "This is like the last thing left." Like we're giving him allergy shots, and he's still not responding to it. So we changed his food, and it seems to have made him a little bit better. But yeah. 2:00 in the morning. Robin! Put you in the yard and close the door.
Yep. Last night was the worst because the other two idiots can't handle the fact that she's in he's, and then she's sitting there like licking her toes and being really loud, and it's like 3 a.m. and like Jess had enough, so she went upstairs and slept on the sectional with Gabby, and then the other two dogs were locked in the bedroom with me because we had to separate them, and neither one of us could sleep. And just on a positive note, like just in the week and a half that she's been here, like you no longer can see her ribs. Like she's already kind of like started to fill back out. So it's really nice to see, I guess, just how quickly she could rebound. And then like she's immediately trusting because like Yancey wouldn't let us touch his feet at all ever for like the first year. And then she's just like you said, just like you can mess with her face, you can like look at her paws, like lift her up, and like doesn't care. Just immediate trust. It was very strange compared to the other two abused dogs that we gotten in the past. So this one's just like fairly normal. It seems almost too easy.
Maybe she was in a good spot and it just didn't work out and it didn't go down the way it should have with going through a channel to get her to a good home. But
Yep.
She found where she's supposed to be.
Yeah, and our neighbors may have made the comment that our area apparently is like a magnet for people dumping dogs. This is far from the first time and far from the last of dogs that will be dumped in this area, apparently. So we're not allowed to fall in love with all of them. That's the rule.
Is that your rule or Jess's rule?
Is I'm confident that we both have a hard limit on 3. We cannot have 4. We won't do it. And I don't care how good the dog is.
We had 2 for a while, and we got the second one because one was getting older, and it was like, no, we can't be no dogs, and
we were that way. We kind of like 1 minimum, soft 2 maximum was kind of where we were at, and I mean Kyle's damn near 15, like he's not a young dog, so it's like we had that conversation too.
Well,
and Yancey's almost 10, I think. Because we would have got him. He wasn't a puppy when we got him, and that would have been like 2016, right? You wouldn't know. Like, why am I asking you? But
you didn't talk about it on the podcast at that point, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, but like, I think it was 2017 at the absolute latest, and he wasn't a newborn by any stretch. So yeah, I mean they're both at least in the 10-year range. So I mean they're not young, but we had that conversation too. It's like, she's real young, and Kyle's really not.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the timing isn't perfect, but at the same time, we don't want to be without either. So,
yeah.
So, we'll just have a misfit animals house, I guess.
We had our older Boston. We lost her in April, and then we had our kid in October. And like our limit is 2 things. Like there can be 2 things that are dependent here. I think like we had 2 dogs. 2 dogs was good. 2 dogs was a little bit much at times, and now a dog and a kid. Okay, now we're good.
I would strongly agree with those numbers. I would even just 2 weeks of 3 dogs. I'm like three's too many.
3's a lot.
3's too many. I'm not changing it. I'm not getting rid of them, but I like. Make the choice. 3 is too many. How people have 3 kids, I'll never know.
Oh, yeah. We also have friends that have 1 and decided, oh, we want 1 more, and they had twins,
or triplets. Yeah,
just twins. Twins, and you go over there, and it's just like something's always happening. There's never something happening.
It's very loud. Yep. Because I was over at E-Man's for his birthday. He had like a handful of his family and friends over, and like we were the ones that like stuck around, just kind of bullshitted towards the end, and like did the Midwest goodbye that took us like an hour and a half to leave. Mm-hmm. And so it was just us 4 and or I guess 5 because Wyatt was there obviously, and then. So like
4.5.
Yeah, 4.5. So we were just talking. They're like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, it's so loud and chaotic." And I turned and I was like, "There was a lot of people here, and they were all talking, and there was a handful of kids, but that was nothing compared to being at the house with like the triplets and all of the cousins." And it's like this was not chaotic. I promise you.
And we've coined the term glorious chaos whenever we have all of our friends over, because we have kids ranging from like 10 all the way down to just turned a year.
Yep.
It's like all the bigger kids will just like through the house from one side to the other, and on the way back, and you just talk over a little bit, and it's just kind of like, yeah, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. They don't require our input. This is awesome.
No, it's I'll say when they all can entertain each other, that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's legitimately everything going on in my life right now. A slow rolling these car projects. Eventually we'll get one back on track. Other than that, working dogs. Watching basketball. That's about it.
I have something new to talk about, but we need Adam here for it, so we can hold that for next time.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
He can be an old man yelling at a cloud with me.
Perfect, because I do know where you're going to go with that.
Yep.
But, yeah. But I think we did a show. We'll be better about. Okay. I promise we will be better about weekly shows and content and I don't know. I'll just say it, even though it's not probably true. We'll try.
As we prove tonight, we'll find a way to make a show one way or another.
One way or another, we'll do it.
You might just be stuck with the two of us.
Yeah.
Sorry about you.
If he's too busy fishing to come podcast, that's on him. I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. It's just, but we'll just say it was fishing.
The ponds thawed out.
They were calling. But yeah, we'll catch everybody next week.